fun. My next guest is a comedian whose one-man show, Sleepwalk with Me, opens November 11th at the Bleecker Street Theater right here in good old New York City. Please welcome the very funny Mike Birbiglia.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's focus. I'm going to tell you a story just a few minutes here, and it's true. I always have to preface that because inevitably someone will come up to me and they'll be like, was that true? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, was it? And I don't know how to respond to that. Like, I guess I could say it louder, you know, like, yeah. And they'd be like, it's probably true. You said it louder. When I was 19, I had a malignant tumor in my bladder for about a week. But it's funny, stay with me, because I'm a hypochondriac. And I think the funniest thing that can happen to a hypochondriac is you get cancer. Because it confirms every fear you've ever had in your entire life. You're just like, see? I told you. Remember last week when I was overtired and I thought I had rickets? I was probably right about that too. There's gonna be a lot of changes around here. It was less funny at the time. I was driving home for Christmas break, and it was about halfway home. I stopped at a rest stop to pee, and there was blood in my pee. And it was particularly disappointing because when I'm on road trips alone, I'll have water drinking contests with myself to see how clear I can make my pee. And it might be completely specific to me. So I'll stop at a urinal, and it'll be clear, and I'll be like, bingo, you know. And so when it was red, I was like, I lost big time. And I get home very late. I wake up my dad. I tell him what happened, and he took me to see a urologist. Now, I didn't know at the time what urologists do. I mean, my friends now have gone for prostate exams, but I was 19, and so he said, put your hands on the table. And I was like, all right, I can put my hands on the table. And then he stuck his finger up the thing, and I didn't know that was going to happen. And so I shouted. I go, oh, my God. And he got mad at me. He was like, cut the theatrics. And I felt so bad. I was like, sorry about the theatrics, you know, as though I had intended it. Like, this'll be my big moment. When he sticks his finger up my ass, I'll prove I should be the star of our town. Hold on, stay with me. He goes, listen, you got to come in tomorrow morning for what's called a cystoscopy. And doctors always dress this stuff up. He goes, no big deal. You come in, they put an IV in, you fall asleep, you wake up, you eat a muffin, you go home. I was like, all right, that sounds pretty good. I go, out of curiosity, what is a cystoscopy? And he picked up a rod that was about 4 feet long in his office, and he says, there's a camera on the end of this, and we stick it through your urethra to look into your bladder. And I said, I feel like you glossed over a few details in the initial description. I feel like there was too much emphasis on the muffin and not enough emphasis on the fishing rod you're sticking into my number 3 body part on E's top 100 sexiest body parts. Next morning, I woke up, and they put the IV in, and I fall asleep, and then while I was under, they found something with the scope, you know, an item. And so they decide they're going to put me under further so they can take it out. So they put me under the street equivalent of horse tranks. So I wake up in the recovery room, and I'm sky high with my mom, which is not the first time in my life that I've been high with my mom. But it was the first time she knew. And I don't react to drugs very well. I'm like the guy, if you're ever smoking pot in a group, who's like, do you guys hate me? Who's at the door? Who's at the door? Who's at the door? Why does my heart hurt? Is that rickets? You know, I'm not proud of that. It's just what I am. And my voice gets very loud. And I wake up in the recovery room. I'm like, this place is awesome. And my mother's like, shh. And I was like, shh. Do you hate me? So my mother's driving me home, and she has to explain what happened. And it's a difficult conversation. She said, the doctors found something in your bladder. And I knew whenever they tell you that, it's never anything good. Like, we found something in your bladder, and it's season tickets to the Yankees. Never that. So I had to wait a week in my life for the biopsy to come back. So for a week in my life, I thought I might die which is an incredible experience if you ever have the chance, because you'll talk to God even if you're not sure there's a God. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy as a kid, and the answer is no. I wasn't, and I think it's because they knew I was a talker. I had that look about me, and but a week goes by, and a biopsy comes back, and it turned out I was okay, but every 6 months, as a precaution, I have to go in for one of these, but it's okay, because afterwards, I eat a muffin. So, thank you very much.
Now, Mike, this was part of your one-man show, Sleepwalk with me. Do you sleepwalk? I'm curious about the title. Is that something you actually do?
I actually do. I tell a lot of sleepwalking stories. It's very strange that Edward Norton is in my show, not physically, although that would be great.
He's thinking about it now. He's thinking maybe.
I have a story where I fell asleep watching the movie Fight Club, and I had a dream.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, is that common? Yeah, and I had a dream that my hand was being held down by Brad Pitt, and he was going to pour acid on my hand. I jumped out of my bed, and I sprinted out of my apartment, and I threw a chest of drawers in my wake, like in an action film, because I knew that Brad Pitt is very cunning. And I sprinted down the hall, and my girlfriend runs down, she goes, "You're dreaming." And I was like, "Brad Pitt! Acid! Oh, no." You know,
and you snap. I thought you were never supposed to wake a sleepwalker. Is that dangerous?
It's a bit of an urban legend. I actually talked to a doctor about that the other day. It's actually...
The first thing you should do when you see a sleepwalker is wake them up, right?
Yeah.
And just slap them around.
Yeah, no, I was diagnosed with what's called REM behavior disorder, and it's, you know, I take a pill now and I sleep in a sleeping bag up to my neck. I'm not making this up. So that I can't open the sleeping bag. I wear mittens so I can't open the sleeping bag. I'm literally...
So you're like thrashing around. You're like a crazy worm.
Yeah.
Sleeping around.
That's my wife. She's backstage. She'll verify that this is true.
Strangely, I believe you.
Yeah.
Sleepwalk with me, very funny, by the way. Sleepwalk with me opens November 11th at the Bleecker Street Theater right here in New York City. Mike, funny stuff.
Thank you
very
so much.
Yeah.
Really
Good luck to you. Mike Birbiglia. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.